All right. Good morning, good morning, good morning. And we are back with Right On with Rita. Excuse me. And I have that follow up interview I was going to do with the young man from Dallas. Good morning, sir.
Good morning to y'all.
All right. Thank you. So here we are. So, a couple things I wanted to correct. The Ahmaud Arbery Day is actually February 23rd of 2022 in the state of Georgia because on the last broadcast I did say it was the 22nd, so please forgive me for that, just making that correction. And then so also I wanted to say that we want to give a shout out to Don Griffin, and we want to give a shout out to Pastor Lloyd of True Gospel Missionary Baptist Church, 835 29th Street, Oakland, California. And I'm sorry, Minister Griffin, as I call him. We want to give a shout out to OCAR, OCAAR, our Richmond Community Resources. So shout out to you guys, and here we are with this interview. And sir, okay, let's go ahead and get started. So I did want to do the follow up with the interview. We were speaking about the Ahmaud Arbery issue, and then also you had elaborated on George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, and as we know, there's a couple things that just happened, trials that were going on that we have results of now since our last interview. So if you wanted to kind of just go back and or get started, talk a little bit about how you felt about the Ahmaud Arbery, and then if you wanted to go to the next person or whoever you would like to speak of, we just want to hear your perspective, sir, today.
It's just, like I said, it's not right. Today, in these days and age, we still going through the same stuff that we went through, back in the day. It's one thing to leave your house, the safe of your home, and go somewhere. And it's another thing that you got to be on high alert for your safety due to somebody being intimidated on how you look.
Yes. So, we were talking about seeing if that we could get that Ahmaud Arbery Day universal, have that worldwide. At first I said the United States, but I'm thinking of worldwide. Let's let it have it a national holiday in, our whole United States and abroad, wherever it could be. Because truly, that is a turning point, in Georgia, from where our ancestors came from and the laws and the things that happened there. So do you feel, how do you feel about there being two trials and these people being, I'm so glad they're accountable for it, but do you feel that the family really, and we as black Americans can have justice now that they have been convicted on both trials?
I, yeah, I put it like this: think about if the role was reversed. You know, think about how quickly the trial would have came and went. It wouldn't have been no second trial. It wouldn't have been no hesitation.
Yes.
It's people don't look at it like that. You got to look at it from a different point of view, another person's point of view on things. You know, I would love to see it be a national holiday. Because that would be a symbol, it represent, everybody that's gone through something similar to that.
Amen. Okay. And so, being that those convictions, they're going to stand, and like I do understand what you're saying. Like, if that was a black people who did that to a white person, they would already receive the electric chair. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, great. So we're so grateful. You know, again, we thank Mother Wanda and Father Marcus. Excuse me, I'm so nervous. And Father Marcus Senior for the sacrifice, because their child was basically a sacrifice for life that can get better for our future black men who are growing up and being targeted. And so I just want to move over to about Mr. Floyd. Now, you know, this is a first, excuse me, because not only are these people convicted, but these are officers. Do you have a take that you want to elaborate on regarding Mr. Floyd? And we want to bless the Floyd family and thank you all. And we're just speaking on, we want to just talk about this a little bit, have that conversation about how we feel as brothers and sisters of George Floyd, that, you know, we're powerless. It's nothing we could do about it, you know, but continue to make sure that we uplift our people as well as fight for the rights for our people's rights.
Yes. Um, oh, oh, excuse me. I'm sorry. Yes, like I said, with George Floyd, you know, it's like I said once again, it's just another example, prime example of of society that we living in today. You know,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of the people, African Americans who's been murdered has been by Caucasians,
Yes, sir.
and a lot of those Caucasians are the ones that we so-called entrusted power to where we can't defend ourselves if they're in the wrong. Because everybody is human, everybody makes mistakes. Everybody's judgment is not the same. So everybody's actions is not the same. You
Yes.
know, and for us to empower these people, you know, with this power, you know, to protect and serve, and some of the higher ups in the higher power chairs are part of the KKK.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, and it goes to show how corrupt uh, the system is.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that voting makes a difference? Like when some of these people, we vote in office or don't vote in office by not voting, you know, as they say. Um, but how do you feel? Because when we have these people who are in power, they are elected. Most of them are elected or appointed. So do you feel that elections cause this? Is like the cause of these people who are in power? Or do you, you know, what's your take on that as far as voting to get the people in or out?
Voting makes a difference. Voting is your way of voicing your opinion or getting your voice out there for the rest of the nation to hear. And I know a lot of African Americans, they don't, or I'm not gonna say just African American, a lot of young people who are eligible to vote, that a lot of, you know, our older people didn't have that right to when they was our age to
Yes.
vote. You know, and like I said, sadly to say and honestly to say is we take advantage of it and we don't even know that we have that power. So when you don't have people voting, actually speaking their opinions, you got the people that are voting. So they're the only people voice being heard. And
Mm-hmm.
that kind of reflects on to, that's like saying they're speaking for people that's not speaking for themselves. Because
Yes.
if one person vote and three people don't vote, you know, you're going to just automatically assume that everybody's siding with one side.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I just, I think people, young people should vote. Voting do make a difference. It's It helps get the right people in office and get the ones that are not supposed to be in office out of office.
Yes, sir. And so that is definitely a privilege that sometimes we can take for granted. And as a younger generation, I'm glad you said that. It is effective and it can be effective, but you have to be educated on who's there and why you want them there. You can't just vote for them just because they're a Democrat or a Republican,
Right.
or they said they're gonna do it. You have to see, you know listen and hear what they talking about, because in the end they might start off saying, oh yeah, well, I'm going to do this and this is going to be great, but then on the back end, we catch hell. So me being from the older generation, and I like to, I know a lot of people say, oh, you're not old, but yes, I'm glad to be this old. I'll be 52. And so I see voting the way that it's being done now, because you see there's a lot of manipulation going on in there. So we really, like, unless we are like totally into it and know exactly what's going on, we got to make sure that we get our votes in the right place. It's so many laws that we as black people are not aware of that really jeopardize our life, that they've had on the books since the 1800s.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I want to encourage young people, get out there and vote, register to vote, know who you're voting for, know what they're standing for, and then make your choice. Okay, and then also let me ask you about, how do you feel about, like, and then I'm just going on a tangent here, because since we start speaking about voting, about black people having to fight for civil rights. Do you realize that we are the only race? Well, no, we're not the only race, but in the United States, you know, we had to go through so much to get to this point to be recognized. How do you feel about that as a person?
Uh, I feel like we can't we have come a long way, and we're still fighting to this day. Like, it's I can't elaborate, like I can't sugarcoat or anything. Like, we're still fighting to this day. You know, a lot of people say we're equal, and we're not equal. Me personally, I feel like I'm not equal. Like, I could fill out a job application, and just from my name, letters on the paper that pronunciate a word, you automatically assume that I'm African American,
Mm-hmm.
and you'll pick a different candidate. Like, I done had jobs, I fill out an application, go turn it in. I done had them look at me in my eyes, crumble up my application, and throw it in the trash and said they wasn't hiring.
Oh
When
my!
they have a now hiring sign outside.
Wow!
Like I said, it's still an ongoing, it's still a fight that we're fighting. It's still a battle that we're fighting to this day.
Mm-hmm. Amen. It's a constant battle, and I don't think that, particularly as they say, fair. What is fair? We are people. We deserve to be respected and protected, just like the other one, like any other races. And we as black people, you know, um, have suffered a great deal, at the hands of others. Let me ask you this: have you heard any, or the talk about reparations and what that would mean for black people? Have you heard anything about that?
No, ma'am, I haven't.
Okay. We had already talked, and I told you I would like to have you, like, on a panel, with people to have discussions for our people about things that's going on. So, if you might want to look into that just to see, because here I am, and this is what I see, and I have to do some more research on it as well. But we are the only race that haven't been given that handout, that step up. You know how they came. The people supposed to came to America. Then they were given certain monies and land and property and things to establish a family, to establish a life. And we as Black Americans are the only race to not be given that. When people come from other countries, do you know after they come and they register and they want to come and be a citizen of this country, they are given stipends, basically. They're given money to start a life in America. Did you know that?
I didn't know that.
Yes. That's what reparations is about for us. And that's what, our elders are fighting for. That's why they keep talking about it. And you see, they are fighting tooth and nail. And so everything that the Black American has established, and this is just from my view, this is just from my view. And so everything that Blacks have established, they've established hand by hand on their own. So when you look at Oprah, when you look at Steve Harvey, President Obama, Michelle Obama, when you look at all of our elders who are successful, they did this. And remember, they had to work at least 3 times harder to get where they are. And they have this. So success is achievable as far as, this greatness that we're looking for, but it is so hard. You see here they go, the Kardashians, the Hiltons, and all these people are given they families back from time. Even Trump, his father, they was given stuff, and then they, from whatever they wasn't given, they stole it. That's another thing. Black Americans have, we will grow. They can grow. And this is, because, that's going to take me to another thing. So, because I look at how, the Black people as a unit, look at us. We did work together, not just from slavery times, but beyond that, like they said, it's take a village. And now, people have become selfish instead of selfless or self-full. And now that's the division that we start seeing amongst our people. So we're looking for some better days. And I have to say, also, please like and subscribe our channel if you like our content. And so, I was supposed to go through that run through. I didn't do it. Again, we are so grateful to have you here, sir, giving us your time to answer some questions that we may be pondering ourselves. And we are the people. We want to talk for the people, be the people. And so also I wanted to ask you about, Miss Breonna Taylor, rest her soul, and prayers to the Taylor family and the mother and family and friends. There was none of those officers. Are you familiar with that incident?
Yes.
Well, let me let you speak a little bit.
Go ahead. Like I said, this is my first time. I'm nervous.
No worries. How do you feel? This is great, sir. Look, we're learning together. This is a learning process. And again, that's why I asked you, after our first interview, would you be willing, to come on this panel to help me? Because we're going to look at all the things that are going on, and we want to talk about it. We want, these normal people, we don't have the Beyonce platform. We don't have the Jay-Z platform, right? So, we are working people. So I want to be the voice of the working person. And, young man, I know that you're a father. And I know, and so let's talk about, and I want to talk about Miss Taylor. And so we want to be the voice of the working people. And we're starting this and we have resources. Again, want to give a shout out to OCAR in our community. It's OCAAR in Richmond, California, and we, are doing great things in California. Shout out to Minister Griffin, as I like to call him. But about Miss Breonna Taylor, from what the knowledge that I have of the incident, this was a warrant that was served on to her house. First of all, the police lied. This is why I didn't understand why no one is charged. First of all, they lied to get the warrant. They obtained the warrant. It wasn't even for Miss Taylor. It was for someone that she had dated in the past. However, this person was not at her residence. She was in another relationship. Moved on. Nothing to do with this. So they lied to get this warrant. Then they go there. And because the people he had a gun to take care of the house. And, they come through here. Boom, 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 boom. Come in. He fired one shot. And then they just light up the whole house. And then this guy who was just charged, this policeman, he got off, not guilty. And they didn't charge him for Miss Taylor's death. But this is why, because I was watching, I watched it. And I watched it of some of his testimony. And I was so aggravated. Because he used her. He went in there. He got so much sympathy from that jury. Because he's the only one charged. He came in and he apologized to her family. He's on the witness stand. A policeman cried on the witness stand. And they're trained to not do that, okay? And it was preposterous. He had 4 charges against him for firing into another unit. None of the bullets that went through her apartment. None of the bullets that went through her took her young life. So this is how, which goes to the 2 systems of justice. One for blacks, one for whites. How do you feel about that? Or do you have any feeling about is there the 2 justice systems?
Well, there is good cops good people out there who are serving the country, and who are policemen. There are good-hearted people, and there are people who are not. It's good and bad in everything. It's one's judgment. But see, that's where the system fails at, because their protocols, they didn't follow protocols, the right procedures and protocols for issuing a warrant.
Well, they lied to obtain it. What they did, they knew that guy wasn't there. They knew that none of the stuff that was going there was to that person. They tried to say that she was receiving packages and things. It was not true. But you see how they shift the blame. See, they threw a ruse in there. They want you to forget about Miss Breonna Taylor, but we're going to keep speaking her name. And, we're going to let the people because they're still working with it. There are agencies and who working and trying to see what they can do, I'm sure to bring some relief to the mother, because this was preposterous. And I really believe, you see how those officers wasn't charged at all? Well, why didn't the officer get charged for lying? What do you think should happen to officers that are caught in lies? Let's go there.
They should get penalized. Just like a regular civilian when they're in court and they lie, they lie in court. They get penalized, we get penalized. What makes them so different that they shouldn't get penalized for their actions?
Mm-hmm.
Is it because it's just a badge? I mean, if that's the case, then I could go get some metal and I could carve out a badge and put a badge. Would that make me, they don't hold their people accountable for their actions.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like, and then they're quick to cover up the bad they done, because they let's say they do a lot of good, but then they do one bad thing. Well, with that one bad thing, you still got to be accountable for it.
Yes.
In some form or fashion.
Yes. I really think that when officers are found to be lying, I think it should be a mandatory penalty of 10 years. Because how many lives are affected by an officer lying?
A lot.
You see, they take a parent from a child. They take a child from a parent. You never know, because you have some people who are like in their 20s, 30s, and then they have to be taking care of their parents. And if they're taken away maliciously because an officer done lied, right?
Yeah.
What happens to the parents? You see, so when these officers are going around lying and making up things and charging our people with things that they shouldn't, I think it should be a mandatory 10 years. 10 years, and never be able to be a police, lose their pension, fired immediately, lose their pension, and let me think of some other stuff. I had to make that little point light. And I mean all police. I don't care. If you're a police and you're grimy and you're lying and you're charging people with charges that they shouldn't be charged with, having people arrested, some of our young people get records all because some police just wanted to give them a jaywalking ticket. Did you know that?
Yeah.
Specifically, just because they want to give them a jaywalking ticket to put their name in that system. Once you have any police contact, did you know that starts a criminal history?
Yes, ma'am. I speak from personal experience.
Oh my.
I got stuff in my background, due to, like I said, no, I do take responsibilities for my actions, but some of my stuff, charges, it was bogus.
Yes, sir.
And once you get charged with it and booked in the system, it's stuck. It's stuck with you.
Well, what it is that, a lot of times our people have to take plea deals because, for one, they get a bogus public defender. But on the one hand, let me just be honest with you, because I've had run-ins with the law myself. I was accused of assault and battery with a car, which was going to penalize me and could send me to prison for 5 years. So it was either go to trial or take a deal. I don't take deals. I went to trial. I had to go to trial. And it's like, are you kidding? These things I was charged with, truth be told, it was a lie, but it was people who had their hands in this that wanted this to happen to me. I was great.
I'm sorry.
Yes, sir.
Did you beat it?
Say it again.
Did you beat the case? The charges?
Yes.
Amen.
Did I beat it? Yeah. Yes, because the Lord sent a public defender that she was from, obviously, the heavens. Shout out to Zephyr Brewer, Contra Costa County public defender at that time. She did, and I took it to trial. See, a lot of times our people are fearful and don't want to risk it by going to trial. But see, the truth will surpass all understanding. What is the truth? You see, that's why this legal system. See, a lot of times, Caucasian people or other people who are wealthy and can pay for this, lawyers to go in here and have this defense for them, is why the people don't get charged. The charges go away. See, some of our people, as soon as they lock you up, and of course, me too, you be wanting to say anything to get out of there. But sometimes, see, we have to say, okay, wait a minute, no. I didn't do this. This is not what it was. And you have to rely on the truth to bring you out. That's what I was doing. I was relying on the truth to get me acquitted. I knew the truth. I knew I had some wrong in there too, as you said, young man. But it was up to the attorney to show that I was not guilty. See, that's that legal system. Some people do and have been successful doing their own litigations. I would not advise it. I would tell you to find somebody that you can trust. Should you need any legal fees, I also would advise you, don't just cop to it. I want to speak to an attorney. From the time that they arrest you, we don't want to be in these circumstances, but once it's upon us, then that's what we have to do and be willing to fight for ourselves. A lot of people, we're so used to being mistreated, it's hard to fight for yourself. Do you agree?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, sir. So, I'm gonna let you just talk a little bit about yourself and issues that you may be experiencing or know about that you want to talk and speak of. You want to go ahead?
I mean, I got a story, about my encounters with others, but it's just like I said, it's a lot gotta happen for the changes to be made.
Mm-hmm.
And it takes a lot of initiative and a lot of people to come together to make those changes happen.
Yes.
It's not something that's going to happen overnight. Right? It's not. It's just something that it's a work in progress that we just got to continue to keep doing.
Amen. Amen. Did you have anything that you wanted to elaborate on or about for Miss Breonna Taylor?
No, man, like I said, it makes me furious and that we have to go through this, Why do we have to fight in our own country, but then as soon as something happens in a different country, you want us to ship off and go fight for our country when we're fighting our own battles, for our own rights here in the United States.
Amen, sir. I applaud you for saying that. Yes, sir.
So how are you gonna ask me for a favor, but yet you can't show me respect, in my home?
Amen. Thank you. And a shout out to all of the veterans here and abroad. Thank you for your service. We are, and you're right, exactly. How could you ask me for a favor? How could you ask me to do this and you're not even supporting me as a person? You won't even respect me as a person. And that is so true. But and this is just my take on it. America been a bully. America is the bully on the playground. And that's why they do that. They take our young men, they take our young women, and although a career in the armed services is great. I have many family members that have served and that are continuing to serve. I have, some family and friends who've retired from the services, have beautiful families and everything. So, but that is so true. You know, they expect them to go and fight and give their lives, but then here our people have been mistreated and mishandled, and it's not acceptable. Not just unfair, but it's unacceptable. So, also, did you see the finishing sentencing of Kim Potter? Are you, you know, she is the policeman who shot Mr. Dante Wright. Did you see any of that?
No, ma'am.
Oh, okay, okay. So are you Dante? It's in Michigan, in I think Brooklyn Park. There's an officer. She only got two years for killing our black brother. You know, and then and now when she first went, I mean, this is really preposterous. My view on this, you know, I've always had felt a certain way about this, and that's because it was a Sunday, and you know, in the past, our people were killed on Sundays. It was like the Sunday evening thing to do. And when she said, already, now know what was going on at the time. The officer was on trial. What is his name? For killing George Floyd. Oh, I'm so disgusted with him. So at the same time, they know what's going on. They already, you know, police shouldn't have even been. She was a trainer for that day, and she allowed this guy to pursue the car because of the air freshener, because of the blinker signal, and they pulled him over. But when she shoots him, she say, "I shot a boy." I just killed a boy. I'm going to prison. Oh, you think? And that whole little tantrum that she threw, to me, I saw it. But then she said, "Call Chuck." Who's Chuck? Her representative, her union rep. Call Chuck? You just shot this young black man, a lady in the car with him. The car propels down the street, hits two other vehicles, and you talking about call Chuck? You see the lack of respect for life, of a black life.
Yeah.
You know. And I truly believe, like, that callousness that people that are not of the black descent, they really, 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 really need to put a check on that.
Yeah.
Check mark. You know, that callousness, that lack of life for us, like we don't deserve to live. Like we are criminals. You know. Why do you just perceive me to be a criminal just because I am black? Why? And my hair is kinky. So I just had to put a little lightness on that. But do you think that is a fair decision for her to get 2 years for manslaughter?
No. I don't. Like, I really don't.
And she smiled when she was going to prison. She said that they told her to smile. Who tells you to smile on a booking photo? You ever heard that?
Mm-mm.
So why, you know, when she said that, and her attorney said, well, he told her to smile, and she did. That wasn't even a smile, it was a smirk. When you genuinely smile, even your eyes curl up on the end. She knew. And that, you know, that was so disrespectful, like the mother said. How dare you smile on this photo? Even if they told her to smile, do you think she should have?
No.
Of course not. But the lack of... I'm sorry, go ahead, sir.
I was just going to say, it shows you how much he really meant to.
Yes, sir.
And sorry, you know this.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yes.
So, are you a registered voter, may I ask?
Yes, ma'am, I am. But due to some unfortunate encounters with the laws, I'm currently not able to vote.
Wow. And see, that's another thing that they are fighting for in the legislature. Our people. Because just because a person has been convicted of a crime doesn't mean that their right to vote should be taken. I don't believe so. I believe that the people who are incarcerated, my thoughts, those people who are incarcerated that in there working for a lower wage than they would be out in the, in the free world, they working, they doing their part, they're serving their time. So why not have their votes?
Because I want to say about 65% or more is African American.
I think it's a little more.
Yeah, it's more than half. It's well over more than half. And if you do that, then I mean, that's as they say, a lot of African American are Democrat. So you kind of tilting the scale, in your favor.
Well, I particularly believe, and this is just my take about the voting system, because, and this is what changed my mind about the voting system. And when President Obama first ran for the first time, and they didn't put him in a real contest. He competed against Senator McCain, who was well over 65. I think he was 72.
Yeah.
And so he's an elderly, correct? And then they had Sarah Palin, who is obviously politically handicapped. We know she's geographically handicapped because she said she can see Russia from her backyard. So let me ask you this. If you compete in a race against a handicapped or an elderly, do you win?
I mean, if you're gonna compete in the race, you're gonna compete to win.
Wait. No, time out. No, sir. This is what I'm asking. Okay, so you know that we are, respectfully, to give the leeway to elders, correct? Because what? They don't move so swiftly. They don't think as swiftly. They're at a disadvantage to a young person. Do you agree?
Yes.
Okay. Then a handicapped person, right? Some person who doesn't have the awareness, who's not aware, is not up to par, who doesn't quite meet it, right? Do you agree that a stable mind person has an advantage over that person?
Yes.
So is it fair to put a handicapped and an elderly person in a contest against a well-bodied person?
No.
Okay, so now I ask you, if you in a race against a handicapped and an elderly person, do you win?
No.
Because that's right. And so that when I saw that, I was so offended. I felt disrespected. I felt humiliated because it wasn't even a contest. And I knew at that moment, and this is just my thoughts, I knew at that moment that the requirements for president had just lowered the bar. I knew that once he did great things. President Obama, great president, greatest president we ever seen. I'm going to still give it to him. But I knew at that moment that it's going all downhill. And you see what happened, right?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts about President Biden?
Uh, to be honest with you, I really haven't done my research on him.
Mm-hmm.
You know, before he became president, even after he became president,
Mm-hmm.
it's been so crazy. I've been tied up in my own personal life, but
Well,
like I said, I really
that,
don't know.
yeah, right. Well, you know, and I'm just gonna. This is my thoughts because they threw him in there too.
I mean,
You let's look. You know, if you look at it, because it was Democrats are going to come in office regardless, right?
correct,
He's handicapped and elderly,
correct.
so you see, you see,
Since he-
and
since he been,
that's the bureaucracy way of having these still wrong people in place. Sure, we have Vice President Kamala Harris, great, wonderful. How do you feel about our Vice President? Did you have any thoughts about her?
Vice President, like I said, to be honest, I haven't been into politics lately.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I haven't been doing no research on the team. What have they done since they've been in office?
Mm-hmm.
What promises have they been actually fulfilling?
Reneging on.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Excuse me. We gonna love to have a little humor here. You know.
I just don't know. You know, I don't know what I can and can't say. So, you know.
Uh-huh. Well, you know, I tell you, let me just say this to you, young man. Even though you're not qualified or able to vote,
Mhm.
don't worry about it. I think though you should still just get updated on who is in there. You know who is in there, because I'm sure you know other people who are eligible to vote and that do. And if you just had conversations with them, you know, could maybe help them make some decisions in voting. It's not going to be changed overnight. That's definitely sure. But I feel like once we get our voices out, when we start talking about it, let's really talk about it. You know, there's another thing I wanted to touch base on. Are you familiar with, and you may not, because Louisiana is just next door. There was a judge in Louisiana who, now she's a judge, and oh my God, her name just slipped me right now. But she was caught using racist words. She's out of the court now. They suspended her at first, then she resigned, and then now they're seeing if they're gonna and I need to follow up with that to see if she could ever practice law again, because you know before you become a judge you be an attorney.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, so at first she said she wasn't getting off the bench. And then people went, and you know, there is a young man, a black young man, I believe in Louisiana. He's running for office in I think he's starting in his community. He's starting to be what do they call it? Well, forgive me, everybody, but I'm going to do my research and get his name and all the information and put that on another one, on the next video. So can you tell me a little bit about yourself now? Now that, okay, we do know about you that, you know, you've suffered a little hardship from being convicted of crimes, you know, of potentially things that could be a crime, but nevertheless, it's stopping you from voting. So we know respectfully that it's something that's holding that up. Who are you as a person? Because like I spoke to you before about being on a panel, and I want to just get to know you as a person, like in the community. Like, what do you do?
What I do, typical thing, just work a 9 to 5, just to pay my bills and survive.
Uh-huh. Do you have any other trades or talents or skills that you do?
Automotive. I went to trade school right after high school. Right, I graduated high school and got my certification in the automotive field. So I work on cars, here and there. When I'm not at work or not asleep.
Oh, so it's not only a hobby, it's a life.
Oh yes, ma'am.
Have you thought about opening your own shop or having a mobile shop?
I thought about that since I was in school for it.
Well, what are you doing?
Right now, just working. I should have actually pursued it. But like I said, I haven't taken that leap of faith yet.
Well, hey, now is better time than any. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We want to encourage you to do that. Become your own your own boss. And I understand where you're like, well, I got to pay the bills, and this just not happening right away. But trust me, sir, like you said, it's a leap of faith. And when you trust in the one God, that higher power, it all comes together. It all comes together. You have the training, you have the skill, and I know that it takes a lot of money to open up a big shop, right? But I want to encourage you to look at mobile mechanic. Have you seen those guys who run around and they have whether it's a vehicle, and they have their little tools, and they got a little sign on the side of their car that say mobile mechanic 24 hours a day?
Oh yes, ma'am. I see that.
That's it.
That's them advertising themselves.
There you go. And that's you. You have to advertise you. You have to let people, I'm a mobile mechanic. Go ahead, take that leap of faith, brother. We can talk on the back end. God is with you. God is with us. Let's give God a hand clap. I'm just telling you, I love the Lord. And it's just so amazing. This interview, again, let's say I came in still with an open mind, and it took just a different little perspective. So we want to give a shout out again to OCAR, OCAAR Resources in Richmond, California. And they are helping us and sponsoring us with things to help people. And we want to do things to help people in our community. You, sir, you are not a Richmond resident. However, like I said, you go ahead, take that leap of faith. And, we want to encourage you in any way possible and support you and give you that like, go. Remember how you used to climb in trees? Well, I don't know if you climbed in trees, but when I was a child, we used to climb in trees. And then sometimes some people who didn't have their upper body strength, you had to give them what they call a boost. Like, give me a boost.
Motivation. Like I said, that's one dream I've been having for, like I said, over a decade. And now I know what I need to do, and I know what I have to do. It's just trying to, what's the right word? Synchronize everything, get everything in a routine.
Well, it's all the first part about it, because you on the spot. It's like you said, advertising. You see, you don't have no sign that say I'm a mobile mechanic, right?
No, ma'am, I don't.
See, that's the first thing right there. You got to have a sign, Or guess what? You know how they get these business cards, right? And you know, um, what you do, like you have the certifications, everything. So you are a mechanic. You have, so what you do, you get you some business cards. You know, they print up 500 business cards, I think $4.99 online, Vista Print. Shout out to Vista Print. You've printed many cards for Rita. And you put your name, your phone number. You a mobile mechanic for 24 hours a day, and your license, you know, your certification, and you pass it out. When you go in the stores, you leave 5 cards. When you go in the laundromat, you leave 5 cards. And then it gets around. So you don't have to, like, I know people when they say advertising, they think they got to do this great big thing. No. You can write on a piece of paper, run copies, post it up. One tack, bam.
Social media.
Social media. You know.
I said that's where I know what I have to do to actually get to where I want to be. Like I said, right now I'm just trying to get everything aligned, you know, and at the same time not missing a beat on my responsibilities that I have to do, you know.
Yes, sir. Well, I encourage you. Just go and be encouraged, you know, and you go right on ahead, because we want to encourage people to start being business owners. And I myself, I've had a couple things, and I'm at this time with this channel and the help of the Minister Griffin of OCAR, I am going to go ahead and revive our resources on wheels, because I have a mind for business and things that I want to do to be able to help others as well. So Minister Griffin encouraged me, like, look, you need to get this channel. You need to go, because what is your goal? What do you want to do? My ultimate goal is to have a resource transitional home for the people. All resources and transitional, hey, come on. It could be a temporary stay, you know, ultimately, and I want to have physical buildings. And so, you know, my vision is clear, and I'm going to start achieving some of those goals. So I want to just encourage you as well, sir. And then let's see, anything else I wanted to talk about? Is there anything else that you wanted to add, sir, to talk about, or to that you wanted to give some information for anyone that may be listening?
Particularly not at the moment. Like I said, I apologize because I wasn't prepared that as well as I should have been. When we do this interview another time, I promise you I will be more prepared and have been doing my research.
Hey, guess what? Thank you. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to get together and talk topics, and then we'll get each other prepared. How's that? And give each other fair. Look, hey, okay, this is what we're going to talk about. You've got your choice. Because, yeah, and let's see. And we'll get together at another time. Yeah, when I'm coming back through. Again, we want to give a shout out to Griffin Stein, a.k.a. Minister Griffin, and OCAR, OCAAR Resources of Richmond, California. We want to give a shout out to them, because this is what Minister Griffin is doing for me. He's challenging me, and he's giving me, like he told me, okay, this is what I want you to do. You go ahead and go for it. So the first, you know, our first interview was the first thing he told me, and he reviewed it, and he called me and he said, you got it. That's it. That's what I said. You followed instructions. And so now this is the follow-up to that interview. I want to say, hey, Minister Griffin, I did it. And young man, thank you so much. Thank you so much for your time. We're coming about to 1 hour, so we're going to go ahead and cut it off. And we want to encourage each other. This is our channel, Right On with Rita. We're just getting started out, and we're looking for great things to come. We are looking to have a panel soon and grow. As we grow, we wish you the same. So again, thank you, young man from Dallas, Texas, and I surely appreciate your time.
You're welcome.
All right, sir. Peace, love, and many blessings to all. This is Rita with Right On with Rita, saying right on.